All right, let's dive into Wicked, shall we? You guys sent a ton of stuff our way, articles, research, even your own notes. Seems like you're really interested in how Wicked went global, the upcoming movie, and, well, its overall impact.
It really is fascinating.
Yeah, prepping for this, I was blown away by just how massive this show is. Not just Broadway, but London, Tokyo, Australia. It's like it's taken over the world.
Absolutely.
So to help us really grasp this phenomenon, we've got our expert here. They'll help us make sense of why Wicked has become, well, this global sensation.
It is remarkable how Wicked didn't just travel, it really adapted. It's not just about translating the script. They went to great lengths to make it resonate with each culture. It goes way beyond language to incorporate those local sensibilities.
That's so interesting. Can you give us an example how they did that? What you said, you pointed out how well the show did in places like Japan and Germany. How did they make it feel so, well, authentic to such different cultures?
Well, take Japan, for example. They actually wove in elements of kabuki theater into how they staged it. They even adjusted the music to include traditional Japanese instruments.
Wow.
Yeah, it wasn't just cosmetic, It was a way to make Wicked part of that Japanese theatrical tradition.
So they weren't afraid to make some pretty significant changes.
Not at all. They understood that to connect with a Japanese audience, they needed to do more than translate the words. They had to translate the experience, the feeling of the show.
Oh.
They even cast popular Japanese actors and singers.
So smart.
Yeah, which helped draw in people who maybe weren't familiar with Broadway musicals.
That is brilliant. It seems like they really got that going. Global was more than just slapping on subtitles.
Exactly.
Speaking of crossing borders, that brings us to the movie adaptation, something that's been in the works forever and is finally happening. You mentioned the casting, Ariana Grande as Glinda and Cynthia Erivo as Elphaba. That alone caused a frenzy online.
Yeah.
What is it about these two that makes them such a good fit for these iconic roles?
Well, they both have this incredible ability to convey both vulnerability and strength. And that's essential for these characters,
Yeah.
Grande, with her bubbly personality and powerful vocals, really embodies that Glinda charm and her evolution.
Yeah.
And then Erivo, she's known for her raw talent and her commanding stage presence.
Right.
She is a force to be reckoned with as Elphaba. I think their casting brings a fresh, modern energy to the story while still honoring what we love about the characters.
And with John M. Chu directing, who,
Mhm.
brought us those visually stunning films like Crazy Rich Asians, we can definitely expect to be wowed visually.
Oh, for sure.
I'm especially curious to see how they'll bring some of those big stage moments to the screen.
Right.
Like Defying Gravity, for instance.
Mhm.
Such a powerful moment on stage. But how do you recreate that feeling of, soaring through the air in a film?
Yeah, it's a challenge.
They could use CGI, but it has to be done well, or it'll be cheesy. Maybe they'll focus more on Elphaba's emotional journey, close-ups, her expressions as she sings.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a real challenge to adapt something so visually spectacular for the screen. I remember reading that they're splitting the movie into two parts. What do you think about that?
I think it's a wise move.
Yeah.
There's just so much story to tell. Wicked isn't a simple fairy tale,
Mm-hmm.
It deals with complex themes like social justice, prejudice, the nature of good and evil. Splitting it into two films gives them the space to explore those themes properly without rushing through it all or cutting out important stuff.
It does seem like they're taking this adaptation seriously, which is great to see.
Yeah.
I think fans are really hoping it'll do the story justice. This global success and the anticipation for the film, it really makes you realize how deeply Wicked has resonated with people.
Yeah.
What do you think it is about this story, this world, that has captivated so many?
I think it's the combination of a familiar world but with a completely new perspective. We all grew up with The Wizard of Oz, but Wicked flips that story on its head. It asks us to question everything we thought we knew and see things from a different point of view. And that resonates deeply, especially now when we're constantly being challenged to see beyond the surface.
That's so true. We're often given these simple narratives,
Right.
but life's rarely black and white. Wicked embraces that complexity and asks us to do the same. It encourages us to think critically, question authority, and empathize with those who are different from us. And it does all of that while being incredibly entertaining. Fantastic music, a captivating story.
Exactly. It manages to be both thought-provoking and thoroughly enjoyable, which
Yeah.
is rare. It makes you think, it makes you feel, and it stays with you long after the curtain falls or, well, the credits roll.
Right.
And that's the mark of a truly great story. And it's amazing how Wicked has started these kinds of conversations, not just about the show, but about social justice, prejudice, good and evil.
It really makes you think about how Wicked's become a part of the culture. You see it everywhere. TV shows, music, even memes and TikToks. It's clearly more than just a show at this point.
hmm
What do you think made it so culturally relevant?
The timing is interesting. Wicked premiered in 2003, a time of big social and political change. The world was dealing with identity, war, abuse of power. Wicked, with its themes of defying authority and fighting for what's right, it really connected with audiences who wanted stories that addressed those anxieties.
That's a good point. It wasn't just escapism, it was engaging with the world's issues. I'm also curious about how Wicked has changed the theater world itself. The stuff you shared, there's mention of how it pushed the boundaries of what a Broadway musical could be. What do you mean by that?
Wicked raised the bar in terms of spectacle and production. The sets, the costumes, the flying monkeys. It was a visual feast that audiences had never seen before in a musical. And it wasn't just about flashy effects. It was about using those elements to tell a story in a powerful way, an innovative way.
It wasn't just the visuals, though, was it?
hmm
The music is such a huge part of Wicked's success. The songs are so catchy, they become iconic, they connect with people on an emotional level.
Oh, absolutely. Stephen Schwartz's score is masterful. Soaring melodies, witty lyrics, songs that capture the whole range of emotions, from the playful popular to the heartbreaking for good. And it's not just about individual songs. It's how they're woven into the story, how they move the story and reveal the characters.
And those songs have become so ingrained in pop culture. I bet everyone listening right now has a Wicked song stuck in their head. It's amazing how those melodies have gone beyond the stage and become part of our lives.
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier that Wicked pushed the boundaries of what a Broadway musical could be. Do you think it changed the types of musicals we see today?
I think it's definitely had an influence. Wicked showed that audiences wanted musicals that were smart, visually stunning, and emotionally engaging. It paved the way for other big, high-concept productions like Hamilton and Dear Evan Hansen, shows that tackle complex issues and push the boundaries of traditional musical theater.
It's like Wicked showed that musicals could be more than just fun. They could explore serious issues, challenge norms, start important conversations. And this brings us back to adaptation and how Wicked has been so successful internationally. We talked about Japan. What about other countries? How did they make Wicked resonate in places like Germany or Australia?
Well, in Germany, they tapped into that cultural fascination with fairy tales and folklore. They emphasized the darker, more gothic elements, which resonated with German audiences. They even changed the set design to incorporate imagery from German expressionist cinema, giving it a unique German feel.
Wow, that's fascinating. It sounds like they did more than translate. They tried to translate the heart of the story for a different culture. What about Australia? How did they adapt Wicked there?
Australia has a strong musical theater tradition, but they also have a distinct sense of humor and a love for stories that challenge authority. They really played up Elphaba's rebellious side and the funny parts of the story. They cast famous Australian actors, which helped create a sense of local pride.
It seems like a common thread in all these productions is this respect for local cultures and finding ways to really connect with the audience.
Yeah, absolutely. They understood that to make Wicked truly global, they had to embrace what makes each culture special and work it into the show.
So Wicked isn't just a show, it's a phenomenon. It's gone beyond borders, languages, cultures. It's started conversations, challenged how we see things, and left its mark on theater and the world. Makes you wonder, given how well it adapts and connects across cultures, what other stories or characters deserve the Wicked treatment?
It's a great question. There are so many untold stories, different viewpoints, and alternative narratives out there. I think Wicked's success has proven that people want stories that challenge the norm, that make them think, that show them the world in new ways.
Wicked has shown us there's always more to the story, another side to every coin. It encourages us to dig deeper, to question what we know, and to see the power of empathy. But we're not done with our deep dive yet. We'll be back in a moment to wrap things up and look at Wicked's legacy. Welcome back for our final thoughts on Wicked. It's been quite a journey. International productions, the upcoming movie, and the show's lasting impact.
It really makes you appreciate the power of a story.
Right.
Wicked has connected with so many people worldwide. and it still sparks new conversations.
Yeah, it's amazing how Wicked has stayed relevant and even grown over the years. Why do you think that is? What keeps people coming back, even after 2 decades?
Well, I think it's because of its universal themes. Wicked deals with stuff that's timeless: friendship, identity, self-acceptance, standing up for what you believe in. Those resonate across cultures.
It does that in a way that's both entertaining and thought-provoking. It's not afraid of complex ideas, but it never loses that heart and humor.
And the music plays a huge part, I think. Stephen Schwartz's score is so well written, it captures the whole spectrum of human emotions, from joy and energy to sadness and anger, and those melodies stick with you.
They really do. What do you think is the most impactful part of Wicked's legacy? Is it how global it is, the conversations it started, or how it influenced other musicals?
That's a tough one. But I think for me, it's how Wicked has made audiences question the stories they've been told. It encourages us to look deeper, challenge what we think we know, and consider different perspectives.
It reminds us that there's always more to the story than we might see at first. That's a powerful message, and it's so relevant today when we're overwhelmed with information and it's hard to know what's true.
Exactly. And Wicked's success shows us that people want stories that challenge them, stories that make them think, that help them see the world differently.
As we wrap up, I want to leave you with a question. What stories, like Wicked, have changed how you see things? What narratives have really stuck with you? Because those stories can shape who we are and how we see the world. Just like Wicked has touched millions. Your story, your perspective, matters too. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Wicked. We hope you enjoyed it.